Hey there. In this video, I'm going to go through the different plans that Notion has to offer, explain the benefits of each, and help you pick the right one for you. Notion is a freeform canvas for individuals, teams, and enterprises of members ranging from 100 all the way up to 5,000 and beyond. So they built their tiers with different groups in mind. Most of the stuff on the enterprise is entirely enterprise related, such as auditing logs, deeper security, SCIM provisioning, basically the stuff that large organizations need. You as an individual probably don't need that and can get by in that free plan. You can get pretty much everything you need until you start working with a team, and then you start bringing in other people such as 100 guests. You have a little bit more data history where if you want to recover a page, you can go further back in time, custom automations, all that kind of stuff. So let me just get right into it. It is pretty straightforward. As you can see, it goes $0 for free, $10 per month for the plus. You get unlimited blocks there. You get unlimited file uploads. You have a 5 gigabyte limit, so you can pretty much just throw any file type right into Notion, send that to any device that you have, and let anybody access it within like 2 clicks. It's the fastest way to get anything from my phone over to the computer or the computer over to the phone. You can't beat that. Once you get into the higher tiers with business and enterprise, you start looking at things like privacy, bulk export, even further data analytics. So those are really intended for those bigger businesses that need those for security reasons, such as HIPAA or all of that we'll get into down below. Most people can get by on free or plus because you have pretty much everything you need until you start getting to the security needs of businesses and enterprises. You can also add on Notion AI to either of these and see it affected like that. So moving right into the plans and features, I'll go through the different tiers and explain why somebody would want that over a different one. There are some make or break depending on what you have to have in your workspace, such as if you need HIPAA, you have to get the business or enterprise. If you're just yourself, well, free is okay. So the main reason that I see people get plus is because they work with a team. Once you start inviting people to your workspace as a full member, you don't have unlimited blocks and your file uploads are limited. If you want that 5 gigabyte limit and you can just upload as many files as you want, like I mentioned, it's the quickest way to get it from one device to another. That only comes with plus. If you need file uploads, you kind of have to get plus. Additionally, if you want more page history, such as being able to go back to a page 90 days before, well, then you kind of have to do business. If you want to go back to any page that you've ever done, then you have to do enterprise. Those are the make or break that you should be looking for when you decide your plan, because the free plan, you can use all of the features that you get, just a limited amount once you start inviting people. Page analytics, they're basic in there for free and plus. They start to get advanced with business and enterprise. Once you start moving and working with other people, you'll see here that a lot of the features move to the right very quickly. You get a collaborative workspace in every tier. With the guests, you can only invite 10 on the free plan, so if you want to invite 100 people, you have to move over to plus, 250 for business, and 250 for enterprise. Please note that those are guests. They don't cost you to add somebody as a guest. It only costs you to add them as a full member. So if you have a lot of friends and you only want to invite them to individual pages, you can do that 100 people on the plus or 250 on the business. That's pretty good. And moving down the list, you can see that Notion, you get most of what you need. You can do permission groups. You can have team spaces to organize your workspace a little bit better. But once you want that privacy, you have to start moving up to business or enterprise. If you want advanced permissions, you have to do enterprise because, well, most enterprises are going to have a systems champion so that they can actually make the use out of those permissions and not have a bunch of questions for Notion that Notion doesn't want to answer because they didn't have a workspace champion being an individual. And there's just a lot more that goes into it when you have an enterprise amount of people compared to just being yourself. But you can see on the free, you get calendar, you get all the views, except for chart. I'll go down to that in a second. That's across the board, all of the views, timeline boards, calendar, all of those. You get subtasks, you get dependencies, custom properties and filtering. And that's really where most of the power of Notion comes from, is the filters. Once you get into that, there's plenty more videos on how to use filters, but you can pretty much split your workspace however you need using properties and filters, and you get that on free. So once you start using it with a team, or once you want that unlimited file upload, that's when Plus makes sense. Or if you need automations, you do have to move over to Plus. You only have basic automations such as buttons, Slack, or sprints on the free. So if you want the database automations, you have to move to Plus onward. One of the biggest reasons that people would use Plus in 2025 is having unlimited charts. Charts are beautiful when you get them set up because data visualized makes you understand it a lot better. That's why teams use it. That's why it's on business and unlimited. But if you're just an individual getting your daily tasks done or tracking your habits, you might not need that. But if you want to visualize it, you do have to move up to Plus. But that's not the same for forms. You have unlimited forms. You can use Notion Forms and on free and collect all the data you need there. Once you want to visualize it, move over to Plus. And you can see here, you can still publish unlimited pages on the free. So if you don't want to invite somebody to your workspace and you would rather share a page to the live web and just send them that link, you can do that on free too. Free is pretty good. It's once you start getting into Plus that you start getting more into it with more domains. You get extra search engine optimization. You get extra customization, analytics, and branding. You don't need that on free because you're just an individual, and that's kind of how that goes. With the API and integrations, you have access to the public API and free, so have at her. If you know what you're doing, go crazy on free and don't worry about Plus. You have connections to Slack, Zapier, Make, all the fancy connections that you need. Dynamic link previews, the stuff that actually looks good in Notion. So you can do a lot of this. The sync databases are more for external syncing, such as GitHub, Asana, or Jira. If you want to do that with free, you only get one, so you might have to move up to Plus if you're using that external tool. So if you need API access, free is fine until you start getting into that external tool need. And the real reason people get business or enterprise is the admin and security that comes with that. You get two-step verification on each platform. You can export your entire workspace as an HTML, Markdown, or CSV on each of the tiers. It's once you start needing to export the entire workspace as like a PDF, if you need it in a specific format, sorry, you got to go to the business plan. If you need the single sign-on because you have multiple members under the same email address, well, you're probably a part of a business and you have to go that business plan. But once you start getting into the advanced user provisioning, anytime somebody gets added to your organization, they automatically get added to Notion. That's an enterprise feature. Advanced security, enterprise as well, analytics, granular admin roles, audit log, admin content, domain management. You can kind of see how this starts to get obvious on who should use what once you have those needs, because if you know that you need HIPAA compliance, you've probably been doing this for a while. You're not an individual. So go over to Enterprise and get on with that. If you need priority support, move over to Plus. And if you need a specific customer success manager, you have to go Enterprise. So as you can see, the free plan can pretty much do everything that you need. If you're an individual, it's once you start working with teams that you get up to that paid plan at the $10 per month. But that's $10 for everything that you could do in Notion. Once you need to get the security, you move up to business. Once you need the further access control, you move up to enterprise. Pretty much whatever you need, go look at the plan. You'll see what you need, pick that plan, and you'll be happy. Notion has done everything that they can to make you happy. Notion's plans just make sense. So if you had any questions or if I left something out, please let me know. And if not, hope to see you in there. Notion is beautiful and so are you. So talk to you then.